I need you to pause whatever you are doing and hear me out, because we are passing through the most perilous and decisive 48-hour window ever faced by an American presidency. You saw the headline, and I am telling you plainly that it is not sensational bait. It reflects a frightening reality now unfolding inside the White House. Donald Trump has collapsed. The figure who once broadcast an image of unbreakable power has buckled under the shock of a devastating betrayal by those he himself elevated. Verified information from deep within the West Wing indicates that the president is cut off, increasingly suspicious, and erupting in ways that should alarm every citizen. Yet the true cause of his unraveling is what matters most. The Republican Party apparatus that shielded him, empowered him, and rationalized his misconduct for 10 years has turned against him. In a stunning two-day reversal, GOP leaders have decided Trump is no longer their ruler, but their expendable loss. Be absolutely clear, this is not a routine policy dispute. This is a coup within the palace. For years, people wondered what would finally push the Republican establishment to draw a line. Many assumed it would be the insurrection, the felony verdicts, or the sexual abuse ruling. None of that mattered. What did was something colder and more ruthless, the belief that Donald Trump is now a liability. The catastrophic consequences of Operation Metro Surge, paired with the public disaster caused by the federal funding freeze, convinced donors and Senate leaders that he was dragging the entire operation down. Like rats abandoning a sinking ship, they are scrambling to distance themselves before they go under with him. The pace of this implosion is staggering. Only 48 hours ago, Trump was shouting in a federal courtroom, attacking a judge who dared to present proof of his illegal surveillance efforts. He believed his party still stood behind him. He believed the red wall would not break. While he unraveled in public, however, quiet meetings were happening behind closed doors in Washington. Mitch McConnell, the governor of Virginia, and influential mega donors gathered without Trump's knowledge. They reviewed polling numbers. They examined the lawsuits brought by Attorney General Keith Ellison. Then they reached a ruthless conclusion. Trump is finished. Do not be fooled into thinking this shift is about integrity. Do not let J.D. Vance or any other Republican pretend they suddenly discovered morality. They were silent when innocent people were targeted by Clearview AI. They stayed quiet when school funding was endangered. Concern only surfaced once instability began threatening their grip on power. They are abandoning him now because they fear you, the American voter who is finally recognizing this administration as a chaotic failure. They want to scrub the MAGA stain from their hands before the midterms. But we will not allow them to erase who created this disaster. Reports describing Trump's response to this betrayal are deeply unsettling. We are told he has barricaded himself inside the residence, raging at television screens and accusing his closest allies of treason. This is the conduct of someone who knows he is trapped. His entire life, Trump relied on money or intimidation to escape consequences. But he cannot intimidate a Senate that no longer returns his calls. He cannot purchase loyalty from a vice president who is openly admitting on national television that the administration is in disarray. The pressure is closing in, and for the first time, there is no escape route. Pay close attention here, because this is the most dangerous element of all. An abandoned narcissist is volatile. A president who controls nuclear weapons and believes the world has turned against him is an existential danger. What we are witnessing is not merely Trump's personal collapse. It is a national security emergency. Who is leading the country right now? Is it a man reportedly hurling food against the walls of the White House dining room, or a vice president publicly undercutting him? America's adversaries are watching closely. They see division. They see a leader rejected by his own party. That vulnerability is real, and it exists because the Republican Party placed an unstable individual in the highest office. Consider the federal funding freeze that sparked this chain reaction. Trump believed it would be his decisive move, forcing Democratic states into submission by cutting off funds. What he failed to grasp was economic interdependence. Hurting New York and California also damages the investment portfolios of his own donors. The calls that triggered this rapid reversal came from Wall Street, corporate power brokers telling GOP leadership to shut it down because it was costing them money. That is the only language that resonates. They did not turn on Trump because democracy was harmed. They turned because profits were threatened. That reality exposes the moral decay at the core of the Republican Party. And now we arrive at J.D. Vance. What we are witnessing is betrayal worthy of Shakespeare. This was Trump's chosen man, the loyal enforcer, the one handpicked to stand by his side. And over the past 48 to 40 hours, J.D. Vance has effectively begun running a parallel bid for the presidency. He is the source feeding out details of the disorder. He is presenting himself as the only grown-up left in the room. He no longer views Donald Trump as a leader, but as a rung on a ladder that has already done its job. It is merciless, calculating, and it confirms that loyalty among conspirators never truly exists. You may wonder why any of this affects you. It matters because as they wage an internal war, the basic functions of government are grinding to a standstill. While Donald Trump fixates on betrayal, who is handling the border emergency? Who is guiding the economy? Who is making sure your local hospital receives federal funding? No one. The federal government is frozen by the psychological collapse of its executive. We are adrift without direction as the storm intensifies. That is why immediate intervention is essential. We cannot afford to wait for an election. Congress must act now. I am urging Senate Democrats and any Republican who still retains a sense of national duty to demand a full briefing on the president's mental condition. If he is unraveling, if paranoia and rage have rendered him incapable, the public has a right to know. The 25th Amendment exists for moments like this. It is not symbolic. It is a safeguard designed for precisely this kind of crisis. If cabinet officials who quietly leak concerns to journalists lack the courage to invoke it, then they share responsibility for the danger he represents. Do not turn away. I know the exhaustion is real. I know the spectacle is overwhelming. But that is deliberate. They want you disengaged so they can reshuffle power and deal themselves another hand. Their goal is to replace Donald Trump with a smoother, more polished version of the same authoritarian project. They want you to believe removing Trump solves everything. It does not. The real issue is the surveillance apparatus they constructed together. The real issue is Operation Metro Surge, which they collectively approved. The real issue is an ideology that justifies using state power to crush political opponents. This 48-hour upheaval is a win for the public, but it is only the opening clash. Their turn against him proves that sustained pressure works. It shows that the Minnesota lawsuits are hurting them. It shows that protests matter. They are pulling back because they were forced to. But retreat is not defeat. They are reorganizing. J.D. Vance is already plotting how to inherit the MAGA movement and repackage it for a new audience. We cannot allow that to happen. We must recognize this moment for what it is, a frantic effort to rescue a collapsing political brand. Picture the Oval Office right now. The quiet must be unbearable. The phone is silent. Cable news banners scream about rebellion within the GOP. For someone who needs affirmation as desperately as oxygen, this is suffocation. And when a figure like Donald Trump feels suffocated, he lashes out. Be ready for what follows. He will attempt mass firings. He will try to issue executive orders that openly violate the law. He may even attempt to spark violence again, just as he did on January 6th. With nothing left to lose, he becomes uniquely dangerous. We must serve as the guardrails. Institutions are failing. The Supreme Court is compromised. Senate Republicans are focused on self-preservation. What stands between us and chaos is public vigilance. You must spread this information. You must tell those around you that the strongman image has shattered inside the White House. You must help break the illusion of invulnerability that has trapped this nation for years. The emperor stands exposed, and even his own court is acknowledging it. This is the moment many have awaited, but it is also the moment of greatest risk. If the government implodes under infighting, who is minding the store? Our adversaries seize opportunity. They exploit weakness. And right now, America is projecting nothing but fragility. This is Donald Trump's legacy. He vowed to restore greatness, yet he has left the country brittle. He hollowed out institutions, fractured the public, and now, in a narcissistic fury, is tearing apart his own party. Hold on to this feeling. Watching bullies turn on one another is gratifying, but do not let that satisfaction distract you from what comes next. We must rebuild what they have reduced to rubble. We must restore trust in a democracy they damaged, and we must ensure that no one, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, or anyone else, is ever again allowed to concentrate this level of power. This dramatic 48-hour shift is not the conclusion. It is the peak of the tragedy. The ending remains unwritten. Will we allow them to rebrand and continue eroding our freedoms, or will we seize this weakness to reclaim the country? The choice is ours. Republicans have chosen survival. We must choose justice. We must choose truth. And we must insist on accountability for every one of them who contributed to this nightmare. Stay focused. Ignore the noise about personal feuds. Fixate on the facts. The president is unstable. The party is splintering. The policies are collapsing. Reality is prevailing. We are witnessing a corrupt regime crash in slow motion, and we cannot look away until the debris is cleared and democracy is safe again. Donald Trump is unraveling because he has encountered a force he cannot control, the collective resolve of people who refuse tyranny. This is your win. Claim it, but do not relax. The coming days will shape the nation's future. Follow the news, but do so critically. Hear their statements, but track their behavior. The rats are abandoning ship, yet the vessel is still drifting toward disaster. It is our responsibility to take the helm and steer it back. We can do this. The past 48 hours prove they are not untouchable. They are afraid, and they should be, because the fight for our democracy has begun, and it will not be denied.